Hi, my beautiful friends, and welcome to our reading for July 2021. Virgo, you all mean so much to me. I'm a Virgo moon, and I often find that when I'm sitting here talking with you all, I'm talking to one of the tenderest parts of myself as well, and doing that work with myself. So it always feels very intimate and personal and safe and lovely here. This is a very, very magical group of people. So thanks for sitting with me yet again for another reading. Oh, I've been feeling so vulnerable and wide open in my personal world recently, and I'm exploring who I'm becoming. So, showing up here each month, I feel like for me, I'm going through these evolutions every time I sit down to talk with you all, even if, anybody else may not know the difference between me last month and me this month. I'm definitely feeling a difference in the way I'm approaching things and feeling things. And this month, y'all, this is a really nice month for Virgos. It's a month where energy is working in your favor. It is working towards you and with you. Both Venus and Mars, my cards are like splaying out here on my couch, so I'm just trying to get them organized here because I am not organized apparently. So you have Mars and Venus moving into your sign this month. Of course, they'll be in Leo for a little bit before they move into your sign. And that's going to give you this energy, this vitality, this playfulness. Mars and Venus together in a sign is this perfect pairing, right? Of like the feminine, masculine, of creativity and action, as well as receiving. It's a unity energy. We also have all this energy moving around and through Cancer, the early part of this month. We have a new moon in Cancer, Mercury moving through Cancer, and the sun moving through Cancer. And this is really flowing energy for you. It's receptive energy for you. That's very much about like the flow of things, the ease of things, the beauty of things, the nurturing of things. And I love when Cancer and Virgo energy are conversing, and there's like there was energy in Virgo, energy in Cancer, and there's this dialogue happening because I often find this is where we really get into a truly receptive state. And this is working so well for you guys. We also have, of course, movement into Leo later in the month. The sun moves into Leo, and then Mercury moves into Leo. And this is energy that's starting to prepare you and get you into that spiritual vibe, right? Like when energy's moving into Leo, it's prep time for Virgos when it comes to Virgo season coming up not that far away. Can you believe it? This is a time to start to feel that your soul calling to you. So there's a really strong soulful element to the energy all Cancer season for you. Now, and all of July, honestly, and continuing on into August, but we'll get to August at another point. It's also a good thing to point out that this July, right now, outer planets during the summer are retrograde for the most part. So Jupiter is retrograde, Saturn is retrograde, Neptune is retrograde, Pluto is retrograde, and Chiron joins that list up, the astro list. Chiron joins that list here this month as well. This is all about integration, and I love outer planet retrogrades because it's bigger picture stuff. It's understanding ourselves and how we've grown. So you may be finding with all that energy as well that you are getting a chance to incorporate and understand how you've grown. Now, I had a message for you before we get into the cards. I'm going to have a sip of my coffee. Before I get into the cards, I just wanted to have a little chat, and I'll start shuffling here, about one of the messages that came through for Virgo this month, because I was thinking about signs. Everybody loves a good sign, including me. I mean, who doesn't love some synchronicity, some signs, some numbers, some animals, some birds? Those can be really beautiful. And when healthfully taken for what they are and not over analyzing it too much, that's a beautiful part of this whole thing we're in. But a message came through for me, and I think this goes again with all that flowing energy for Virgo this month. This is not about analytical energy, actually. A lot of this energy is about what is working, what is flowing, what is coming into your life. And I was thinking about sometimes, when we think we really want something, Like we really want to date that person. We really think we want to do that school program. We want to do that job. We want to have that role. We want to have that identity, that house, whatever it is, right? I've been here so many times. We start to look for the signs. We start to crane our neck and look for anything that could possibly be telling us that we're allowed, that this thing is still ours, even when on a really practical level, it's just not happening. You know, you keep missing the phone calls. You can't get in touch with the person. Oh, a card wanted to come out. And by the way, I am using the Animal Totem Tarot this month, all the reading, because I love this deck and I think it's beautiful. 4 of Cups starts our month off, which, you know, is very fitting for Cancer season. You know, so we're craning our necks. We're saying, okay, I saw this number again, and it must mean, you know, that I'm supposed to be in divine union with this person, or I'm supposed to get a call back about something, right? And we're just twisting ourselves into pretzel shapes looking for those signs, right? And I was thinking about how the best signs are the ones where things are happening, right? The best signs are the ones where we notice, we look around at the things that are working. The Tower, all right? I also want to mention when I'm using the Animal Totem deck, the readings do have a different feel to them. So the Tower and the Animal Totem has to do with the termite. And so we'll get into some of the imagery there. But it's the things that are working. It's the things that are working. The Moon, yes, I love that. That we want to be paying attention to. Here's the other thing with signs. With signs, they're a little addicting. And enough is really never enough when we're really in that mode where we're like straining to make the pieces fit together for something that clearly, like, there's a bigger plan, and there's something that's saying, like, you know, this person isn't for you. This house may come with issues that you can't see from right here, but you think you want it, right? It's like there's something going on there that's kind of keeping us from going on a path that's not for us, right? And of course, hindsight is 20/20. It's so easy to see when we look back, and when we're in the midst of it, it's difficult. And Justice, the crane. Okay. But signs are addicting, you know. It's like you get those little hits and then you're like, well, I need to see more so I can believe that I'm allowed to live in peace. I need to see more to believe that I'm allowed to have love. I need to see more in order to believe that I'm allowed to receive. It's very easy to go into that mode, right? So this month, I think with all this supportive energy, all this integrating energy, all this preparatory energy, all the magic of the energy moving into your sign and also moving through the symbiotic energy of Cancer for you, which is so good for you. This is a time to let down your guards a little bit around receiving, right? Practice receiving just energetically, right? Which is a big practice. And also when it comes to when you feel that you are straining, you know, you're like, your veins are popping when you're looking for those signs, notice when that's happening. And then take a step back and put your focus somewhere else. Put your focus on something that is giving you joy and that is working. And then really focus on those things that are flowing in. That's where the attention needs to go. Okay, so you have a really interesting reading here, I think. 4 of Cups, the Tower, the Moon, and Justice. Tons of major arcana energy and lots of like deep wisdom energy, mystery energy, behind the scenes energy going on here. And it has a lot to do with emotional wisdom, emotional intelligence, paying attention. 4 of Cups, in classic tarot, this is often about we keep focusing on the things that are not working and we are not paying attention to this thing coming in. Now here we have the octopus, right? And the octopus is notoriously brilliant as an animal, right? For anybody ever. They live very short lives and they are extremely intelligent, learn very fast, know how to change, hide, play, explore, regenerate. They are very beautiful animals. And here's the thing, the treasure is at the bottom of the water. The treasure is in the quiet. And there's a lot there. This is the doorway through which we access all our good stuff. I do think it's important to make sure you're getting proper rest during Cancer season and that you are using the inside out approach, right? The energetics first, then the outs, then the external. That's going to be a big theme the first 3 weeks of July. And it's one that never fails. And it's always great to get that reminder. Now, you have some big things coming, but here's the thing. It's going to be much easier to receive those things if you take the time to go here to this place. Now, this is not about heavy discipline, heavy sadness, heavy, forcing yourself to be spiritual. I'm not about that, as you all know. I think when I think about the octopus, I think about playfulness. I think about playfulness within exploring our deep, quiet ocean within, and how we so often hear about it as this thing where we have to go sit on a mountaintop and like strip away everything and be ascetic. And what I think about is like how curious I get about what will happen when I sit with myself and I see myself as a gateway to all those treasures, as I see my energetic field as a gateway to something really interesting and really important. And I value that, and I think, oh, I'm going to go play in there and see what comes up. And putting the inner cynic aside that says, there won't be anything interesting there. You've sat with yourself long enough, and remembering that there is a vast world within that. Now, along with that, I think what happens when we do that deep dive, it's true, we're going to be looking at our inner tower. Now, like I said, with this deck, the termite is the symbol of the tower. And the termite obviously eats away things. And in the natural world, that would be it's a very useful thing, as it eats away old wood and it restores balance. It clears clutter. It clears debris. It clears things. And I like the image of the termite because this is about like progress over time, right? This is not, yes, eventually there's that suddenness, there's that lightning strike that's the tower is famous for. But for me, sometimes I find what's interesting is, and I'm sorry if any of you have termites in your house and this is stressing you out, I am so sorry. But it's kind of like this, right? Like we don't always know how much we're changing behind the scenes. We don't always know how much like our desires and what we're ready for has been changing under the surface. Like I think about how much that happens until we sit, we go deep, we look at our treasures and we realize, oh my God, I've already changed. Like I thought I needed to do that somewhere down there, and suddenly I'm realizing I've already changed. So this is a transmutational energy right here. And it's one that it's just telling me, like, Virgo, you're not who you were last year. You're not who you were 2 years ago, for sure. And that's a good thing. Here's the deal. You have some gifts, some blessings coming your way. The moon and justice. When I think about the moon and justice, these are cards of wisdom, equanimity, joy, balance, harmony, beauty. And even the imagery, I think of these two, there's a ethereal quality to both of these birds, right? We have the owl and the crane. And the wisdom of birds, they're messengers so often, right? They're big messengers. These good things coming in, they don't have all the bells and whistles of trauma, repeated trauma patterns, right? They don't have all the bells and whistles of a movie script with all the weird, messed up qualities that are so often applauded at during a movie, right? Or when we're reading a book and we're being entertained. There is an equanimity to it. There is a wisdom to it. It's the kind of stuff that feeds your soul. And so here's the thing. If you've been finding throughout your life and throughout this pandemic and, as we're easing out, that you're still finding that you want to, go get pulled back into something that looks and feels familiar, an old stressful work pattern, an old stressful relationship pattern, an old stressful friendship pattern that is familiar, yes, but comes with that tension in your chest, that tension in your shoulders, that feeling of not being called back, or that sense of being ignored or having to pretend that you're the cool girl and you don't care that people aren't showing up for you. You're just going to do your thing. Whatever those cycles are, when your body is telling you this does not feel good, the things that are coming in for you are completely different. They have a quiet presence to them that is steadfast. You won't be needing to look for signs. You won't be needing to like torture yourself, trying to convince yourself you're allowed to have this thing. It's going to be something that comes in and is quiet and is centered and is clear. So we start the month off, I think, kind of looking for the game, for the play, for the stress that indicates that somehow you're alive. And we end the month with an equanimity. And these are two very different types of gifts. I know for me, y'all, I'm going to admit this, and I hope a few of you have joined me on this at some point, because otherwise it's kind of embarrassing. So I think I've gotten to a point in my life where I really do self-correct when I notice I'm in dynamics that don't feel great for me. Just anything, like if a friendship's feeling a little off or something, I will adjust those things. I'll step back where I need to. I'm very grateful for that. But the familiar adrenaline rush of some stressful things, I will sometimes put on Married at First Sight. This is my confession to you all. I'll put this on. And it's like when I'm like, things are a little too harmonious. I'm a little too safe. Like I'm thinking so many positive thoughts and I'm feeling calm about my life, and there's something missing. I need some like stress in my life again. I'll put that show on because it stresses me out. It's so dysfunctional. Like dysfunctional relationships. To me, it's like philosophically, I just disagree with that show completely, and yet I cannot stop watching it. And that's just an example of like something kind of frivolous, where sometimes I will just be looking for that old familiar adrenaline pattern, even though it's not something I want to live in my life anymore. But this month, I think you might be finding there's a calibration there going on between those two things. And I think the message that intuitively comes through for me really strong is like, this is a chance for you to choose that repetitive drama, that repetitive pain, and to choose the equanimity. And the thing that's, I think, a little scary about choosing the equanimity is we don't know what's going to happen next. If we're leaving a familiar pattern of any kind, and believe me, there is no judgment. We all have familiar patterns that we know we want to leave behind, and yet it's alluring because it's familiar. Whenever we leave an old familiar pattern behind, something that's been tried and true and tested, and we go to a space, we go to a relationship, we go to maybe a letting go of something, there's nothing tried about it. It is new. It is unknown. But the one thing I will say is you've got the Four of Cups and the Moon, and these are about your deep soul intuitive knowing. Not what looks good on the surface, not what works for everybody else, not pretzeling ourselves into every single form, shape, playing every role, but listening to your soul in the deep depths of the ocean and in the beautiful waves of the moon. And there's support here for you. There's support here for you to move on. So if you've been in some stormy situations, you've been in some things that you haven't been certain about or that have just felt a little icky, this month the wind is going to be at your back to shift, because those termites have already done the job, right? You already know what I'm talking about, whatever this is for you, right? And so there is support in you moving forward. We are getting close to Virgo season. We are getting close to a new solar year for Virgos, and this is a really, really powerful point in the year. I'm going to be doing so many activations and hangouts and personal story times over on my Patreon. I would love to see you there. My Virgo family. I'll leave the link below. You can also find me on my website and my Instagram. I am trying to just kind of resurrect myself from a year or so of feeling very like I haven't been very focused on like being out there, being connected on the internet. I've been a little overwhelmed, and I know a lot of healers during this pandemic have felt very overwhelmed and have had to kind of take care of themselves, and I'm coming back out of that. So I would really love to connect with you in all of those places. Please let me know how this July is going for you, my Virgo friends, and I will talk to you again in August for the beginning of Virgo season. What a beautiful time of year. I love you guys. Like and subscribe, hang out with me. It would mean so much, and I'll talk to you soon.